Welcome to the Town of Acton, Maine Selectmen's meeting for October 2nd, 2018. First item is salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor? All opposed? Minutes of the last meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of last meeting.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Approve the minutes of the last meeting. Any further discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor? All opposed? Department heads committee chair updates. Do we have any? We do.
Lois Mishu, Cemetery Committee. Just want to let y'all know we met for the first time since summer in September. We're going to be out and about again. Things are looking good. We had a few more extra volunteers over the summer. Looking for more, always looking for more. People that want to get out and get exercise, do some work on cemeteries, want to lend a hand, touch base with me or Steve, and more than happy to help out. We've had a couple of families step forward. They're taking care of a couple more cemeteries in town, so we're progressing. It's a slow progress, but we're getting there. Our next meeting will be October 25th at 5 o'clock here, if there's any questions. And Kim, I hope to see you next time.
Thank you. Any other committee chairs or department heads? Nope, go okay. Old business, road association funds.
So the form for the road associations is on the website, so we've had some interest there, and we've also had a few people come in. As far as unless the board tells me differently, take it off the agenda. It's something that's going to be available just right forever. And as the applications come in, we'll pass them along to you to review.
Correct. And then I guess the road committee is going to help decide.
So we'll give copies to you and then to start?
Yep.
All right. So, but we'll take it off the agenda, anyways.
Okay.
Okay. All set on that. Generator bids.
So the next two kind of go side by side with your permission. So this is the generator and the utility box beds is something that putting an ad in the Smart Shopper, Journal Tribune, it's really not getting a whole lot of interest. So the utility box bed, before budget season, the fire chief actually got 4 different quotes. So we're going to be reaching out to them to make sure that the quotes are still valid. We checked with legal. That's going to be a sufficient way to go through the bid process, if you will, because we'll have 4 different quotes. And I guess with your approval, we'll do the same on the generator. Just going to reach out to a half dozen companies rather than spending the money on advertising that they're probably not going to see. Have them come in and present something to the board.
All right.
Sounds good.
So the utility box won't happen until after the truck is awarded. Generator is moving its way up on the priority list.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, that takes care of both of those. Item D, Canal Bridge.
So we have a letter that we got from Burke and Clegg. Actually, I think we made copies, right? Kim made copies for it. So this is, it is 3 pages, and it did just come in regarding canal. And you also got it in your packet, a letter from Kelly Collins, the town administrator in Wakefield, basically stating what their opinion was. And although I have not read them both in their entirety, it does look like that both towns are on the same page as far as ownership being split by both towns. But if you take some time to read that. I'm not sure if it's if there needs to be something on the agenda for next week or kind of where that stands.
I think it needs to be on the an agenda for budget season because we'll need to start putting some money aside.
Okay. But as far as the selectmen's meeting?
No.
Yeah,
We just waited for the opinion, so now we're waiting to see what Wakefield wants to do, and unless they reach out to us, we'll take it off?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Okay. Can I have that note back?
Okay, Row Bridge.
A couple of things. So, Mr. Winchell, do you mind coming up for a second? David's going to update you on a little work that's being done over there. And the only thing that I wanted to follow up from the last meeting, Mrs. Hart, there was some talk about Row Bridge and the comprehensive plan. So I thought this was a good time to bring it up. comprehensive plan that was last updated in 2009, it does not say in here anywhere that the bridges are the responsibility of the road committee. There is one section here about the funding for bridge improvements, and it does say that schedule funding for bridge improvements on a regular basis is a responsibility of the Selectmen/road committee. The time frame was 2006 to 2010. So this comp plan is a good 8 years old, and there's really nothing in it valid at this point. So I really wouldn't, allow people to refer to that too much, because even if it was in here, the time frame is well expired. So I don't, at some point when winter comes and we're looking for another committee to create, that might be a good one to update it. But I know David's been working over there on the bridge.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I had the tree cut, all the trees that were in the, close enough that would be an issue. That big one that was leaning over, two of them, two big, large ones there. The guardrail, I'm still waiting for a quote back on that. Right now, it's still stop cars from going over the edge, but still waiting for that. But at this point in the season, there, getting anybody there in the snap of a finger is probably not going to happen. But
Did you see my email about the guardrails, that they were coming down for a different
over there to West Shore Drive, yeah.
I CC'd you in it in case you wanted to meet
They
them.
just come down the price out, right?
Right, they're going to meet him tomorrow.
So, but I'm not. I almost pulled them out and put some Jersey barriers there, but at this point in time, I think I'd rather run into the guardrail instead than a Jersey barrier. So we're going to leave that. We've got a culvert that crosses Hopper coming off Huzzy Hill Road that plugs up. And we've got to redo that again, but not the culvert, just dig out the area where it dumps into. That's been, every time we get a big rainstorm, we get a lot of runoff down through there. That's it for now on that. And we've started the project on Flat Ground Road. We've installed, what, 80 feet? I think it's 80 feet. Is that right? No, 120 feet of culvert down there. We've done some ditching. Unfortunately, the rain has kind of hampered our progress. We did work them yesterday in the rain, but I wasn't doing it today. But our goal is tomorrow to have most of it ready to stop pre-grading and graveling, as long as we can. As long as the pit's got enough gravel for us. So we'll grade until we run out of gravel. But so that should be, I had to stop another project up on New Bridge Road to do those projects. But I do have tree cutters coming in on New Bridge, hoping the beginning of next week. I also have tree cutters going down on East Shore Drive. We got some large dead pines next to the road. I had a couple calls worried about that, so that's being taken care of. We fixed the white bridge down on the Sanborn Road, and yeah, and hopefully shortly here, before too long, we're going to be road grading our dirt roads before too long here. We try to wait till the last minute to do those, so we don't have to grade them again before freeze. So other than that, that's it.
I wanted the board to know that we have gotten probably 3 or 4 different calls regarding Flat Ground Road and how happy they are to see David over there and his crew over there, and how much they appreciate the town's vote last year. So they're looking forward to a winter with David plowing that.
Nice.
Great, thanks,
Thank
Dave.
you.
Appreciate it. ACO position.
I feel like as long as we have a crowd, I should keep making my plea. We need an animal control officer. That's really all I can say about that. We need an animal control officer.
Yeah, he was officially all done as of yesterday.
He was all done the second week in September. We've had his phone now for 2 weeks. That's the other piece I wanted to talk to you about. So he took it upon himself to add a line to his phone plan for that phone. He is willing to, he says that the phone didn't cost him anything. The town really should consider, he'd like the town to consider taking over that line so that even if we go through different animal control officers, at least the number is consistent. I'm gonna reach out to Verizon and see what the minimum plan. There would be no, no data or no internet, or just a basic call. But
Good idea.
until we find somebody, we'll just pull straws and see who wants to take it home with me tonight.
Sounds good.
Excellent. Had my turn, so.
Okay. 13th Street concerns.
This is a follow-up from last week, after the board's meeting last week and the concerns that the board heard. You instructed me to speak to the code enforcement officer and have him send a letter out to the property owner, which did happen probably within 24 hours of the letter going out and the letter being received. The property owner did come in, did speak to the assistant code enforcement officer and dropped off a couple of permits for the couple of the buildings. He also indicated that a couple of the buildings were coming down. Code enforcement has a long list of things going on. Feels like, the fact that he's dropped those permits off and he's cooperating and doing that, he will get to it and review it just as soon as he has a chance.
That's all in process.
That's
Okay.
it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Town reports.
I'm waiting for two department heads.
I just got my notice a week and a half ago. And I haven't got it, that's why I'm not.
I wasn't going to call you out by name. Nobody else knew that but you, David. So I don't have David's. Yours will be short and sweet. I'm sure you'll get it to me as soon as you can. I've got one other department that said they'd have it by the end of the week, so we're hoping to start working on it soon.
Acton Trading Post.
I spoke to the owner of the Trading Post per the concerns that came up last week. She is very willing to assist the town in any way that she can. We talked about maybe putting some mirrors up that we had talked about. She really wants to sit down with the board once the speed survey is done by DOT, but she was ambitious to help and do what she could. So she just, there's no sense in doing anything until DOT gets back to us. So I sent an email yesterday to the individual asking where we stood in that list, and we'll just continue to follow up. But she does want to work with us to do something.
Okay.
Okay.
Not really about the Trading Post, but a speed trailer. It's got to do is it operational and ready to go, or?
Yes, it is operational and ready to go.
Do they have the hitch on all the hitches they need now?
They have the hitch and the pin. They
Okay.
do. So now what they don't have is a registered trailer. So Shapley, Shapley got the same one, and Shapley's kind of been after poor Dan as well to get theirs up, which is on Goose Pond Road. And one of our selectmen in Shapley actually moved it for him. So when I asked him to move this one, he said, "I'm not moving that trailer. It's not registered." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "I'm not
Where do you
registering."
want it?
Thank you. So if somebody will illegally move it, we can get a plate for it, but because we're exempt, we have to go through DMV, and
Yeah.
who wants to go to DMV during the week? I'll tell you after the meeting where I'd like you to put it, and he'll have it on by tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
Great.
Okay. NHN fundraiser.
So that's just a recap, because we haven't met since our Neighbors Helping Neighbors fundraiser that we had down at Iron Tales. Pre-ticket sales were, I want to say about $400 or $500. We made another $500 there that night in sales. The Iron Tales themselves had 50/50 raffles all summer at their car shows, and they raised $1,000 on their half of the 50/50, so they donated that to us that night. So we ended up bringing in over $2,000 from that event, so that is awesome and amazing. So we've had just as much success with the coat drive. As you can see, everything's almost gone. We've got a couple more bags and boxes to go to the shelter, but they took those yesterday. And out of some of those funds that we raised, I have probably, let's say 6 or 7 kids that we have, that we're going to be buying boots, coats, and snow pants for here in the next couple weeks. So thank you to everybody that donated and helped.
That's wonderful. Lincoln School.
I spoke to our handyman, as you requested, and he is going to go out there in the next week, 2 at the most, and cut down all of the, can't remember what he called it, but there was, what was it? Bamboo, the Lincoln School, yep. So all the rear bamboo, he'll cut a good 8 feet around the building, and we'll clean it all up. So he will take care of that for us.
That stuff will grow just the second he cuts it and takes a foot forward, it'll grow right behind him.
Yeah, but we will have done as we were asked.
Yes.
It'll look
Oh,
good.
that stuff's horrible. So, Okay, West Shore guardrails.
Yeah, that also came up in public comment last week. Speaking to the District 1 Road Commissioner, I assisted him in getting an appointment with the Main Lines, I think is the name of the company, David, is that right? Main Line, they're gonna meet him out here tomorrow at the Town Hall at 9 and drive over there and get him a quote and let us know where we stand to get that going.
Very good. Okay, new business, rec committee.
Chris Whitman. So the board decided that they wanted me to start inviting a committee to their meetings each week, just to kind of get an update of what was going on in town and to update all of you. The rec had something that they wanted, so we thought this was a good way to kind of bring it in all at once, so.
Two things, right?
I got it, yeah, a few things. Do you want to just give them a recap first of what's going on in the rec?
We're still doing soccer. We added volleyball and girls softball this past spring.
Yep. Lots of things coming up this winter.
Yeah, we're trying to add an ice rink for ice skating and maybe possibly the Christmas tree lighting. Yep. So.
Yeah, the rec has been really, I mean, they're doing a lot of fabulous things. Chris isn't a big speaker, but I wanted to give you a couple of updates while you were here. The electricity, Mr. Winchell and our electrician have a meeting date. I want to say it's the 20th, 27th, that they're going to be out there. He's going to do the digging and get the electricity run for the snack shack.
Yeah.
And also they'll get a light up there for the fields or for at least the rink area, so we'll want to make sure that you're there for that.
Okay.
And the flag is going to be installed this week.
Okay.
So the sleeve's been dug and he's in the process of doing that. So, and the board has your credit card authorization for the rink on their agenda for tonight, so. Talk to them about the fire pit, that's what they need to hear.
Well, we just wanted like a warming fire pit, just, you know, if we have an ice skating rink, it's nice to kind of warm up and stuff, and from what our information we've heard is we have to come to ask the property owner, which is the town, so there'd be no hassle in the long run.
Do you know what this would look like?
Well, we could build one and it'd just be round with like the landscaper blocks or something like that, and you know, and then move it out of the way. It won't be a permanent fixture, so it'd just be like a little round. I think it has to be 3 by 3 by 5.
2 foot.
2 foot.
2 foot round.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we talked about something similar to this for Mary Grant.
Oh.
And I believe we approved it for Mary Grant.
Yeah, and we did.
The stipulation is the town can't be the permit holder.
Right.
Right.
It needs to be an individual. So whoever's going to be responsible for it, for a particular event, would be the one that gets the permit.
Right.
And the one that's responsible. We just give the permission as the landowner.
I mean, I'll be responsible.
And we did, I asked Michelle to reach out to the insurance just to make sure. They're a little stricter guidelines on the fire pit because of the kids under the age of 12, but she's got some requirements for it. But as long as the board supports it, the insurance is going to be okay with it. We'll just need to make sure you get one that meets their requirements and then get the permits under your name so that you're the last one there. Make sure that fire's out.
Yep.
I support it as long as you've got guidelines to follow to keep everybody safe, so.
Yep.
I do too. I think that's a great idea.
You want to give us a sneak peek on what you're thinking for the Christmas tree lighting?
We haven't even really discussed it yet. We've discussed some things, but.
It's a surprise.
All right.
Is this in conjunction with what normally goes on, or are you taking it over?
It's in conjunction with.
Yeah.
Working with some of the
Work
same
together.
people.
Oh, working together, okay.
Yeah.
So there's one tree lighting, not two, in the town of
My
Acton?
understanding, yes.
Okay.
We could have to if you'd want.
I was
I
just
know.
checking.
More Christmas.
No, it is
better.
one. The
Okay.
individual that was doing it before is kind of working with the rec.
Oh, all right.
My thought was, and I had this thought last year, but I never finished it. The Christmas tree is usually out back here.
Right.
Because we have electricity here. We now have electricity out front at the sign. There's a fire hydrant out there that needs to go away.
Fire hydrant?
That fire hydrant does no good for anything. It was used for training when the fire station was over here. They have no need for it. No, it hasn't been touched in years. And the fire department said they're fine getting rid of it. And this was, I think, a year or two ago they said that. My thought is to take where the Christmas tree is out back here, pull the hydrant and put it in that particular spot, only because there's already a pipe there.
Right.
So move this pipe to there. and have it where everyone in town can enjoy it. I mean, out back here is nice, but it's kind of in a corner.
Right,
Out front would be
better.
kind of a,
Were you thinking about having one at the rec field, though?
Yeah.
We were too.
I mean,
but-
I'm the one that supplies the Christmas trees, so I mean,
Yeah,
you can have two.
Okay.
You know, we have plenty of
And
big ones.
I think the only reason that they were thinking about the rec versus that spot is the concern of the gathering. Do you know what I mean? Having all the kids out there on 109 for the
you got a
lighting
big
and
parking lot in front of the,
I don't remember why you guys wanted it at the rec, but that was one of their
Well,
backup
I
ideas.
mean,
Okay, I hadn't
Christmas
heard that
trees
idea,
really
so-
mainly
that was
for
the
kids,
surprise
not
part.
for adults in
okay,
the long run.
okay,
Yeah, but either one of those spots, but I think they
Yeah.
both agree that over there is not well.
yeah,
utilized.
Yeah,
yep,
That was part of the
yeah.
surprise.
I mean, it would be nice to have two of them, one down at the field
yeah, I
and one
mean,
up
you could
here.
have one up here,
Yeah.
and, you know, then one down at the field.
Yep.
So,
And then don't forget, we have one in here.
Yes,
well,
And you might as
plenty
well
of
put one out
trees.
there while you're here.
Great.
If you don't mind staying, might try to squeeze you into the next one as well. Hopefully you don't have an agenda. So Mary Grant pumpkin carving. I think that'd be a great project for the rec.
Actually,
So a couple of people reached out to me. Apparently someone put something on Facebook that said that due to lack of volunteers, there would be no pumpkin carving this year at Mary Grant. That's when everybody says, oh. So we asked the rec. I have 2 or 3 volunteers
are you
that
asking me now?
Well, you're here, it's perfect timing. 2 or 3 people that have come to me and said, you know, we can help, let us help. They can't, I mean, not, they don't want to help, they can't help financially, but they can help organize and support. Do we have any idea where all those pumpkins got donated from in the past?
From
Art Kelly? Because I'm thinking it was just, you know, throw some cocoa and marshmallows together and some pumpkins and we advertise a date.
we
You
could.
know, carving pumpkins.
We kind of be thrown together this year just because of short notice, but
We got we got a whole month.
okay.
Do you know when trunk or treat
That's
is?
what I was just gonna say. Do you have anything to do with that, or is it?
No,
That's
that's
PPG.
a PPG. I think it's the 28th or the 27th.
Is that usually done around the same time? Those 2
I
events?
kind of feel like they are.
Yeah, because the trunk or treats where they do their,
27th.
When is your
yeah,
next rec meeting?
third Thursday about
Get until the 18th?
right. I could make phone calls. and
I mean,
talk to
you know,
people.
if I could, you know, we could also just try to get these couple of people together, and even if we could get 1 or 2 people from the rec, you know, the Mary Grant, I think, might have a little money, the rec might have a little money. I mean, I don't think it would take much to throw together.
Right.
Just a thought, I mean, certainly no pressure, but if we've got some other parents that want to help. I don't even know, has anybody been to the last couple of years? Do you know how many people usually show up for this? I mean, I feel like there were in the numbers of 30, 40 kids.
It's usually a good turnout.
I mean, that's, you know, a lot for a little town of Acton.
Right. Here, I can put it kind of in the works, in the motion this week.
I'm gonna send an email out and I'll
Yeah.
send these couple of people your way and
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
thank you. Propane bid openings.
Okay, so this got a little interesting because last week when we didn't have the meeting because of quorum, the bids that came in, 2 of them had deadlines of noon time the next day. Apparently the propane prices are fluctuating quite a bit, so we weren't able to reuse those. We recontacted the companies that bid. So you want to start with that one? That's Dead River.
Okay, this one is from Dead River. And fixed, let's see, we got fixed oil price of 2,799. Fixed propane price, 1,659. 27.99. 659. Okay. And it's good until the 3rd, close of business day. That's
Okay.
Dead River.
All right, so this is the second one. So, yeah, so if you, that's the one I read you via email, so he sent me the email saying that, when I told him we had to rebid, cannot do better than our original bid, and the market is actually going up. So I said, for clarification, am I resubmitting last year's amount in tonight's bid? And he replies by saying,
He said, okay,
Is this for oil
I'm
or propane?
assuming this is for propane?
It's for
Because it doesn't
propane.
say one or the other.
right, that's the propane price.
1.899, and this actually came in on the 2nd, which is what, today?
Yep, but,
And it was 4:59 PM, 4:55 PM.
What's the company?
So
Who's the company?
this is.
champagnes.
Okay, there it is, yep.
But what,
Champagne.
read that top line, what does he say?
Okay to resubmit,
Right,
1.899.
okay, but there's there's last week's.
12 PM tomorrow, so noontime tomorrow.
And it's gone up just in 1 week.
So, I'm
Yep,
ass-
last week he was at 1.79, now it's at 1.89.
right,
It's going up 10 cents.
and we don't have an oil price from him.
No, I mean,
No.
there's a fixed oil price here for 2.8,
What is it?
2.8990. That was the first.
And we use a
but-
lot more propane than we do oil, so in any
Okay.
event, the other ones,
He's at 1.899 on propane.
okay.
Okay.
And then, can I have that staple one back?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
There you go.
Dead River, just in case you were wondering, was
Before,
159 last week.
so they went up.
Yeah, it's 160, and it's just gone up 10 cents.
All right, so now you have champagnes? No, now you have,
We have
Down east.
Down
Down
East.
East. Thank you. Down East for oil, $2.80. That's a close one, 280 points, well, 2.8068. I've never, ever heard of an oil price being
That's that
anything
far.
but 9. And their propane is 1.655.
How long is this good for?
So this one says it is, this one does not have a, does not have a date.
Yeah, he didn't, he was the one company that didn't give me a
Yep,
date
he's
last
open-ended,
week.
So he doesn't give us a deadline as to when we have to make up our mind.
But, I mean, I wouldn't
He is,
wait much longer.
no.
Trying to find his Down
Who is
East.
our,
I was saying, who was our,
who do we use right now?
Down East.
Down East.
so we got,
And, I mean, they're low bid based on, I mean, got
They are
1.655
yep,
and
By
1.659.
Yeah, 5/10. Yeah.
5/10, I mean,
Yeah,
they're cheaper.
0.659 or 0.655. So,
Yeah, I mean, I hate to
How's their
even say, but you
service?
factor in changing all the accounts over and resetting everything up.
right,
and Down East is our supplier now,
right, so,
which is this one here, the last one.
I mean,
Yeah.
plus they're low bid, so
So, okay.
they're very competitive, though, Dead Rivers.
Yeah, the Down East is like, how much, let's see.
10, 11,000
Oil,
gallons,
oil you've got down at 1,200 gallons.
right? And there were a difference of what, 0.01 cents?
Yeah. Yeah, not, yeah.
and
And
you use more propane?
We use, yeah, about 1,200 gallons of
Yeah.
oil and 10, 11,000
Yeah,
of propane.
11,000 on propane, so.
And I'm hoping, I mean, these were worst-case numbers, but I'm hoping that possibly, once I call them and give them the church numbers, if we can get them to go in on the same co-op, we might be able to get the low bidder down just a little bit more.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I
I'll
mean,
try,
Down East is the low bidder,
right.
so what's the,
I would say we go with Down East. I mean, we've used them before. They are the low bidder.
Okay, I make a motion to contract with Down East Energy
And I'll second that.
want to put the price in there?
at 2.8068 for oil and 1.655 for propane.
At max.
And what?
At max, I'm
At
hoping to get
max.
it down with
Yeah.
co-op.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, and they are the low bidder. So, okay, there's a, wait here a second.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to accept Down East for an oil price of 2.8068 and a propane price of 1.655. Any further discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Goes back to Jennifer. Truck bids.
So we have 4, and although we sent out the specs, you certainly, can read the companies and read the amounts off, but we're gonna need time with the fire chief to sit down and make a spreadsheet and make sure that we're really comparing apples to apples. We did get, I got a couple of calls from a couple of the dealerships wanting our Ford fleet numbers. We decided that we didn't apply for any fleet numbers. We told them just to give us the base prices, the best they could do. So again, we'll be looking at rebates on top of that, but these are supposed to be their flat line numbers. But I'd prefer you didn't award it until I could go over it with the chief and look them over.
We typically don't, so.
You want to open one too? Since we have a few here.
This is for the utility truck that was approved at town meeting.
This one is from Southern Maine Chrysler Dodge Jeep. So I assume it's a Dodge. Yes, Ram 5500. SLT, which I think is a base unit. Their price is $56,348. And this is, I believe, a cabin chassis.
Right.
Crew cab, cabin chassis.
Right.
Okay. So it's $56,348. And that is from Southern Maine Chrysler Dodge Jeep.
That's a Dodge. And then we have,
Yep.
this one's a Ford.
Okay, the next one is from Arundel Ford. Basic info. And the Ford price, $48,637. Once again, it's Arundel Ford for $48,637.
The other side has all the specs and everything.
Oh, okay. Yep, that's all the specs on it, so. And this one here is from Rochester Ford. One cabin chassis, and their price is $54,975. So that is Rochester Ford for $54,975.
Just so you know, we probably sent out about 30 packages to various dealerships, all different makes.
Well, we have a rounded variety from 3 different manufacturers.
Who's this one from?
This one here is Quirk Chevrolet.
What do they sell? Oh, never mind.
Just a second.
I know, I was gonna say, what do they sell, but the
Oh.
Chevrolets?
Yes,
Chevrolet.
yes.
Oh, that's good, so you got 2 Fords, a Dodge, and a Chevy.
Quirk Chevrolet, and they are at $51,500.
Wow, so Arundel is quite a bit cheaper, assuming they're all the
Yeah.
same truck.
Yep, yep, so,
All right, I'll sit down with Steve and
Yep.
we'll go through them and see if they really are all the same.
Yeah.
yep, that's right,
Yeah.
okay. Yep, okay,
I'll bring that back to you next week.
sounds good. There you go. Thank you. Okay, sand bids.
Just looking for approval from the board to go out to bid. One of the road commissioners called me today and asked me to start getting prices with the upcoming winter season. I did speak to the other road commissioner. I think they're on the same page. So for the next couple of days, I'll work with both of the gentlemen and bring you something back for next week.
Okay.
They said about 2,000 yards, roughly. And I think while we're at it, we'll do the salt at the same time.
Typically don't put out
Well, we're not putting it out, but we'll get the prices from the COG and from Granite State.
I've already made a call on the Granite State.
Perfect, and I,
COG, they should have already sent that.
yep, I have it.
You have it?
Yep.
Okay. Credit card use,
All right, so the rec mentioned their ice rink.
yes.
We need signatures to authorize the purchase of it, based on the amount. That surprise you?
Don't really keep up with the going rates of how
No,
much.
not me neither.
how much You'll set with that?
Michelle did find, I think they ended up with 3 different ones, Chris. And they were all in the same price.
Yeah.
Chris, can you come up and give us a little rundown on what this is?
Yeah, I was just curious, like, how you put it together and take it apart and where you store it.
And what's the
Depends
size?
on which one, because we've looked at like several of them.
See this?
If that's the one that's held together with the straps,
Yep.
instead of, there's one that's held together with the straps, which I think is that one, so it holds it together, and the other ones we looked at, that you'd have to stake them into the ground. So being where we have to place it somewhere not on the field, we found the
Straps.
basketball court, and the straps would work the best,
Oh, okay, so it's going on the basketball court.
because of the drainage, I
Okay.
believe, was the issue.
And the size is,
Do you remember how long
I think
it
it's in, is it in
how
there?
big?
We switched it around a couple times, I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I see a
think
couple different sizes in here.
One,
So,
Yeah, I'm not sure that they
see
made
a
it,
32 by 64 or a 70,
yes,
a
I think it's a
42 by
32 by
70?
64.
Okay, oh, that's the rink size, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Good size then.
Yeah.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah. Then you have another one that says 30 by 65, which
yeah, we wanted
pretty
to,
close to the same, okay.
we wanted to show you 3 different bids, just on the different products, but they're
Okay.
all gonna be approximately that same amount.
Okay. They range anywhere from, let's see. Looks like 3,000 for there. $3,700. How much that one was? Anyway, the authorization is for up to 4,000. And I assume that's rink and whatever accessories you need to
Yeah,
go
it
with
gives you
it.
little boards and the straps that go underneath it, and then I think it's plastic or something, a sheet of plastic. I'm
Okay,
not really sure.
okay. And where is this money coming from? Do we know?
His rec capital improvement account.
Okay. Okay. What's the wishes of the board?
I make a motion, we sign the authorization for the use of the debit card for up to $4,000 for the ice skating rink.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded to authorize up to $4,000 for an ice skating rink. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor? All opposed?
Thank you for doing this, it'll be
Thank
fun.
you.
You won't catch me on ice skates, though.
No.
Stick to my running shoes.
Where's that walker you had out front?
I gave it away. I have a few other miscellaneous things, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, go right ahead.
All right, so we were notified that the Community Bicycle Center 2018 Apple Cycle Charity Bike Run is happening, and they're going to be going through Acton on Saturday, October 13th. So I have a map and additional information if anybody would like to see that. The Sanford Armory is having an open house that they'd like to invite the community to on Sunday, October 14th, from 10 to 12. Some information on that. The rabies clinic coming up at the Berwick Police Department. So far, that's the closest one for us. November 11th from 9 to 1, $15 each. I think some of you might have seen this. They're having a scarecrow contest in Acton. So apparently, you give them your name and address, and they'll drive by and judge your scarecrow.
There's cash prizes.
Really?
That's awesome. I want to be a judge. And basketball signups. Chris, are these available now?
Yeah, they went out Friday.
Okay, so we have a stack here at the town hall as well.
Okay, great,
And absentee ballots are available.
okay.
Still at public?
Okay, now we're gonna go to public comment.
I forgot to mention while I was up here, and I'll go with public comment. My name's Lois Michigan. October 13th, we're planning a cleanup at the Simon Brackett Cemetery, which is over by Lincoln School. If anybody's interested, from 9 to 12. Part of this Historical Society is also going to be there, and we're going to be there helping out also. If it's a rainy day, I'll be the next day. Hopefully it'll be all right and fine. So, and if anybody's interested, come on out. We've talked to the woman. The woman just told us to pilot where it's necessary, and they'll take care of the details afterwards. So come on down if you want something to do.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks. Any other public comment? Anyone else from the public wish to discuss? Okay.
Tim Canoyer, 791 13th Street. In regards to the 13th Street concerns, just wanted to know that the letter that you sent out to the property owner, what were the contents of the letter and the actions to be taken for the resolutions of the concerns that we had.
Letter went out from the CEO downstairs, correct?
Correct, and the board received a copy of it.
Yep. For information on that, I'd say contact the CEO downstairs.
The letter's public information. They certainly don't have it memorized, but we can get you a copy if you'd like.
Yep.
On the resolutions, what's being done? Okay. Okay.
We'll get you that info.
We also have a major concern about the water supply being so close to manure and the downgrade going into our well. We think it's a major concern for bacteria and E. coli. So we'd like that to be addressed as well.
Our CEO has all the information. He's working on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Any other comments?
Jack Kelly, I'm here on behalf of the Mountain Association. I just want to reaffirm our position is to protect the water quality now and for any future generations. And then there was maybe a question about water testing. I just want to assure you on behalf of the Mountain Lake Association that any testing that is done will be done by professional or well-trained volunteers. So if any town officials have any questions about that, I just want to assure you it'll be done correctly. And any abnormal readings will be reported immediately to town officials for action. And then I just want to let you know one other thing. Right now we test, we have, they're called hobos. There's a couple of them in the lake that report to a satellite that goes over. But all that does is it measures the dissolved oxygen and the water clarity. So right now we got one of the board members also goes out in the lake watch boat and does some testing, but not, water quality as far as any bacteria or anything like that. But I just want to assure you that what we work out this winter for a program, it'll be done correctly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public? Any other comments?
My name is Paula Rose. I live on Covewood Drive, and I'm diagonally across from the property we've been discussing, 13th Street Concerns. Last meeting I heard you speak about the Neighbors Helping Neighbors program and all the good that it's done for Acton residents. And on the way home, that got me thinking about the wonderful neighbors on Covewood Drive and 13th Street that my family has known for 20+ years. Always ready to lend a helping hand, a shoulder to cry on, or to help you celebrate the good things in life. And it's my pride in these neighbors that made me want to speak here today. Along with being wonderful friends, our neighbors are also responsible and considerate people. They keep noise levels down, they pick up after their pets, and most importantly, are careful not to take any action that might jeopardize Mousom Lake, the lake we all love, that provides us with water as well as beauty and enjoyment. In fact, if you looked further into their lives, you would find that many of them have spent years serving on the lake and road associations because of their deep concern about the same issues I heard discussed at the last meeting: erosion, runoff, and water quality maintenance. you would find that many have already had the Youth Conservation Corps survey and address potential issues on their properties that could affect Mossam Lake. And you would find that many of them have spent significant time in supportive activities such as checking for invasive plants, working to install the best drainage for the roads, and communicating best practices for keeping our lake environment clean and safe. So after all of that time and effort, to have one 13th Street resident have such blatant disregard of the lake environment and the health of the community has been extremely frustrating. Not only are this resident's actions an insult to the spirit of the neighborhood, they are a slap in the face to the countless hours his more conscientious neighbors have donated to keep our lake safe and clean for future generations. So in my personal opinion, I believe he should be made to pay for any work necessary to restore the properties in his area to the previous state of health. So I appreciate the opportunity to share these comments and for your support in preventing further contamination of Mossam Lake. I heard you say that the sheds may be taken down, but I didn't hear anything about the animals, and that's what we are concerned about. Thank you.
Anyone else in the public? No? Oh, one more.
I'm Bill Gannon. I live at 788 13th Street, and I just wanted to pass along a few things that I have questions about. I'm not obviously a codes person, and I kind of read the ordinance, but I only read it as a regular citizen. The history of that property that was in question at 733 was that it was a 936-foot residential property. It was, to my understanding, allowed to relocate to a new location further away from the lake. And that would allow it to go 30% larger to a 1,216.8 foot property, from what I understand. It was a residential property. I don't understand if it was a residential, how it could have animals now and be agricultural. But that's my thing. I also understand these asked for permits. I happened to be around when he asked for 2 sheds to be allowed on that property. I guess I have a question about if that's allowed by the state and ourselves. So I looked up the state zoning on shoreline regulations and brought a copy for you. And it has some optional provisions that a town can use. And provision 8 says that small accessory structures, and this is a non-conforming lot. It says on a non-conforming lot of record, which may only a residential structure exists, and it's not feasible to meet the required setback, a simple accessory structure is allowed, a simple one, with certain restrictions. The provision was made to give nearly all landowners an opportunity to have a shed for storage. In our code, and again, I'm not an attorney or any of that, we have a 5.11 standard for accessory buildings. It clearly says this same language, but it adds, in no case shall the structure be located closer to the shoreline than the principal structure. So that structure is there. I just wanted to pass that on. So I made copies of the state guidelines, and a copy of our 5.11. And again, this is a code they would know, and
yeah, and
attorney.
Not to interrupt you, but do you, the day that you were down there, you gave them all of those, this is part of the...
I did not give them that.
Okay.
I didn't have a copy of the state guidelines that shows this language evidently came from that, and they only want one structure no closer to the shoreline. If it can't be, then there could be an exception.
We need to give code enforcement an opportunity to address
Exactly,
the concerns that you had
where
first.
I was going to go.
I will give it to him.
And that's our
Perfect.
And I also made a copy of that, which we talked about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening.
Yep. I mean, pretty much in all this, code enforcement really needs to be the first chain of defense on it. You know,
Yeah.
They need to go to code enforcement, planning board. We're kind of the last end of.
Well, right, and they did,
any
I
of
mean, so
this.
they went to code enforcement, and code enforcement did go out to the property, and
Right.
he did look into some things, and he did not have any concerns when he first went out there.
Right.
DEP, I want to say, went out there. There was a few different people that went out, and he didn't have any concerns. So the property owners, some of the property owners
Mm-hmm.
reached out and wanted to know what the next step was. He didn't have anything else to go on because he had been out there. He did, he has confirmed with me since then that it's not, he's confirmed it's not a commercial operation. They're trying to determine, from what I understand, they're allowed to have animals there. He has a large stack of violations and permits and campgrounds, and is trying to
Things that will have
figure
to
out
be
where,
dealt with through code enforcement.
where he's trying to squeeze it in. And
Yep.
But he was appreciative that the property owner came in and at least did the building piece.
And animals are allowed. Is that what you just, is that
I
what?
believe that's what, don't
Okay.
quote me on it.
No,
Don't,
but-
that's,
Yeah, I'm leaving that
I
to
believe that
code
he
enforcement, so.
told me that they were,
Yeah.
that they were,
Yeah.
that domestic pets were,
Yeah.
there was nothing in the zoning that didn't,
Well, then we'll leave that for code enforcement to deal with, so.
good questions for Ken.
Right.
So we'll,
That's-
Yep,
Okay.
exactly. So any other public
pass it back
comment?
down to him.
Nope.
Hi, I'm Michelle, 791 13th Street. And my question for you really is, when will we have this final decision from the town, from the code enforcement officer that we can all look to? Some of the things you said, I would like to know what the final disposition is on the
Sure.
town. Are they pets? Are they livestock? What are they?
Yep,
Will we be notified? How will we determine when?
I mean, in the past, the board has had me leave these things on the agenda until they were resolved. I mean, we can continue to do it that way, or,
I wouldn't, I just feel like there were other violations before this came up that he's been working on, so it kind of, I don't know how he prioritizes his work down there, but he's got a workload that he's working with. And I'm not sure what his timeline is. We can try to get an update for him, from him, but
That's all we're asking is
Yep.
somehow to be advised.
I agree. The same questions, agricultural versus domestic, those are some questions
Right.
that I can't answer, but he probably knows.
and, what we'll do in this case is, as always, we have him review the tape and review the information and the concerns, and, give us as much information as he can before the next week, but still keeping to his regular job and the people that were already, the complaints that were in front of it. But, so we will
And we will
continue to
keep
have
it
an
on the
update each
agenda.
week until it's resolved. The board instructs us to take it off the
If
agenda.
you want to speak, you've got to come to the podium.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna Davidson, 637 13th Street. It was my understanding at the meeting last week that we were supposed to have an answer from the selectmen by this meeting about whether or not goats are considered pets or they're considered agricultural livestock. I thought there was going to be a person here tonight who had that information in writing with the numbers and all from the state.
The instruction that I got from the board, and certainly the board can, if I misunderstood, let me know, but the understanding that I had was to go to code enforcement and have them move it up on priority and to get a letter out to the property owner, which was done the very next day.
Right, that's what we,
But we're not getting any answers. And I
Because he's
think
gonna
we
have-
deserve to have an answer too. It's our, enjoyment of the lake that's being destroyed. We need to have some answers and not get,
And he is working on it.
putting
The
it
letter went out
off
the
week
day after
after
your
week after week.
Right,
We
but the
sent
letter
them-
went out the day after you came to the board's meeting, so the very next day, the letter went out. With any letter, with any violation, whether it's a real violation or not, people have to be given timeframes. You can't say, do all these things in 24 hours. Timeframes are given. He has other issues that he's working on. He has determined that there's no commercial operation going on at this point. He's been in communication with the property owner.
I thought everyone here saw the website where the livestock had prices put on them.
My
And I
understanding
understand
from-
now that that has been taken off, but that does not mean that it's not still a violation. And it
Again-
needs to be addressed quickly before the situation in the lake deteriorates even further.
So,
My code enforcement officer working on it, and once again, he's got a number of things, I won't say ahead of it, because he will move things in and out as he needs to.
Because once the lake is destroyed,
So-
it's destroyed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Gannon. I live at 788 13th Street, right almost behind the Colton's property. And I can tell you right now, my understanding is he had a fire permit. And I thought if we had a complaint because of the acrid smell, that it should be shut down. I can tell you right now, I haven't had allergy problems for years. I get up in the morning, especially when there's a burn, and I sneeze, I blow my nose for a couple hours, or I cough. And I can tell you, he had a burn permit from Friday night, which we understand, and it's awful. The smell is horrible.
This past Friday night?
Oh, yeah,
Called the
Friday
fire
night.
department, and he had, and the
Yeah,
permit was issued,
yeah.
that's correct.
Really?
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
I'll take care
But-
of that. I did talk
but-
to the fire chief after our last meeting.
Well, and
I don't
think-
know how long that permit is good for.
Tim can call the fire department.
Well, no, I wasn't gonna say that. No, I was gonna say.
Somebody's gonna call him.
I believe there was conversations about what could be burned.
Right.
I mean, I don't believe they would say to anybody, you can no longer ever burn. I think there was communications
Right,
between.
don't burn this, or-
Right.
right.
Well, it's the same smell we've been smelling for a long time.
Then it
And we
Not
did
only
tell
that,
you
I got
if
up
that
Saturday
happened-
morning, and you could smell it. Saturday night, you could smell that smell. Sunday morning, you could smell the smell. It was allowed to smolder.
So when you called the fire department Friday night, what was
My
said?
husband called, and he said he didn't, someone called, I thought, and had to get a permit.
Nobody called the fire
Well,
department?
maybe they did.
Oh,
he had-
they had a
okay.
permit.
Because that was
Okay.
our.
But anyway,
During the burn, when it's bothering you, call the fire department.
Yeah.
If it's not called in there, there's no log of it.
But what I'm going to state right now is this is air pollution, and it's affecting the quality of everyone on the road.
Then you need to call the fire department.
Well, I'm making a statement right here,
Okay?
because
We
I'm
can't
telling
stop
you,
it. The
yeah.
fire department can.
But also, I have to tell you, there is a lady who can't be here tonight that lives on Covewood. She has to carry around an EpiPen. If this smoke came over and she didn't have her EpiPen on her, it could be fatal. This has to stop.
Well, I'm saying you need to notify the fire department, because they're the ones that can stop it, and they can stop it right then and there. They can come out, cease it, and that'll be that, because nobody is allowed to burn to affect a neighbor, okay? They will come out and they will stop it, so, but it needs to be done right then and there, not after the fact, so, please. So, anyone else?
Yeah, Spence White, 784 13th Street. So I'd like to say, I've told you the last time, we've been here for years, friends of the families of everyone on the lake, never had an issue. This has ruined our quality of life. I have to say that the level of bullying, and this is a true definition of bullying, is beyond belief, okay? I've sought legal counsel, who you'll be hearing from shortly. I had my property staked. The stakes were removed. I called the sheriff's department. They said, "Did you see it?" I did not. So I put the stake back, only to come back. Well, I came back to find that no trespassing signs all over my property with Colton's name, okay, on my property, okay. I put the stake back in, drove out, saw him coming in, pulled down the street, waited. He got out of his truck, pulled the stake. I asked him to please put the stakes back in. His comment was he wasn't going to do it, and I didn't have enough money to fight him legally. So if that isn't bullying and ruining the atmosphere of a friendly neighborhood, we get together, we have parties. His family, his grandfather and father would be embarrassed. They were best friends of ours. This is an embarrassment, and I'm discouraged and upset, as is everyone else. And to say that a letter was sent out, that's public information, according to my lawyer. We should have a copy of that.
And I told you that you are certainly absolutely welcome.
Why don't we have it tonight? Why don't we have it presented to us tonight?
You know what, it's a live meeting. If you want to wait 2 seconds, I'll go
wait
get it.
2
I mean,
seconds,
it'll
we'll
literally
get it.
take that long. And I believe that I gave somebody a copy of it.
And we did tell you exactly what we were.
Did somebody make some copies for us now?
We absolutely will, but somebody from 13th Street got a copy of it. It was either, you got a copy when you were in when you came in, and you were downstairs with code enforcement, when we had a.
Apparently there was a deadline given.
Yep, there absolutely was.
Okay, thank you very much.
When we met in my office, I gave you a copy of the letter.
We'll have the letter for you here in a few minutes, so.
Sorry, I'm kind of
So while she's doing that, we'll go over the announcements. October 16th, taxes are due. November 3rd, the library is having a chili cook-off. It's a chili and chowder cook-off. It's $20 to register to participate in the event, or $5 to come and chow down and judge. On November 6th is Election Day. There will not be a Board of Selectmen meeting that night.
So, there's everything else. The meetings and whatnot are on the website.
Yep.
So, yep. Just take her a few minutes to print those up.
Do you remember the Southern Maine Veterans Association's having a World War
I dedication.
100th anniversary at 11 o'clock in the morning?
Hang on a minute, I think I can get that right up.
Are you going to that?
I am. I don't want to be acknowledged. I'm going.
Right there.
What was the date?
It's Sunday. Sunday is the 11th, right?
November 11th marks the 100th anniversary of the ending of World War I. And there will be a dedication at the Southern Maine Veterans Cemetery, 83 Stanley Road in Shapley. That's going to be at 11 a.m.
They're dedicating, is it a statue that?
Let's see,
they've been working on?
dedicating a monument.
Monument.
Yeah.
Nice.
Joyce Bakshi, I'm a Acton Library trustee, and since we do have a lot of people here tonight, I think on our agenda you'll see November 1st is our chili bake-off, and we would love to have you all join us. Come and eat for $5. There's a cap if you have a large family. I believe that's 15. You could come with your kids or grandkids. You can also sign up to make chili and be judged. There are cash prizes and a lot of bragging rights that go with it. And this year, for the first time, we can say truthfully, you'll have a good chance because our 3-year winner has said he's stepping down, so somebody else can try. But it's a great night, it's great fun, and you can find out all about it at the library. Thanks.
And a local band will be playing there as well. And just while you have your paper in your hand, it's November 3rd, not 1st.
November 3rd.
November 3rd.
It's a Saturday night.
Great. Okay.
So I made 15 copies. They're being
handed out as we speak. Okay. Great. Note this has bypassed the Freedom of Information Act. This is just going out to the public.
Yeah, I mean, any letter is public information.
Yep.
I mean, it's.
Yep. So, yep. Okay.
Can I ask one more?
One more public. Yep. One more shot on public comment.
Yeah. Can you tell us who made the decision it wasn't commercial agriculture?
Well, that's a fine line. The website was pulled down and just.
So if you do something illegal, you just pull it down and there's nothing done about it.
That's a great question for code enforcement.
Yeah, it's all still in the works. He's well aware of it.
Okay.
Yes.
He's taken all that into consideration, so, yep. One more shot on public comment?
Can I do it from my seat?
Nope.
This is just clarification. It's not a and it's strictly a comment of clarification. There was no meeting last week.
Yes.
The last meeting was 2 weeks ago, and all through the meeting we've heard last week's meeting. Just to clarify.
The last meeting.
The last meeting.
The last meeting.
Yes.
The last meeting is what they meant.
We will avoid all comment on last week's and call it the last meeting.
Change of subjects?
I have a pumpkin project for you.
You do?
Yes.
Wonderful. I just wanted to,
Name? We know
Carol
who you are.
Comasabumwe.
We know who you are, but.
I just wanted to let everybody know, Girl Scouts is starting back up in town, kindergarten through 3rd grade. Their first meeting is Thursday at 6 at the school. And I just wanted to thank so many people in the community that have donated to the troops, supplies and stuff like that. And if anybody has a granddaughter or daughter that's interested.
Is there anything that you need that you haven't gotten?
We still need a lot of the basic things like we need more construction paper, more glue, paints, markers, pencils,
Any binders? Oh.
binders, whatever, yeah. We have a lot of supplies for like yarn and this and that, but some of the basic stuff we could use more of.
Perfect. See if
Thank
we
you.
can get
Thank
some
you,
items.
Carol.
Great. Yep, go right ahead.
Yeah, Jim Murray, 723 13th Street. One comment you made that kind of bothers me, it said you're the last resort. You should hear about this last. You represent the town. We come to selectmen meetings. I would ask you to give us a better response next week about what the CEO's been doing, because we don't know.
Yep. Well, we're
Thank you.
going to get a report from the CEO.
Thanks, sir.
I mean, there's a chain of command that things take. It's land use. It starts with, starts down there and works its way up to us. So,
Understood, but if all these people go down to CEO, we're not all going to get in there.
Right.
So we come to the selectmen meeting to find out what you guys are helping us with.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
No.
No? Do you have anything else?
I don't.
Anything else, Jennifer?
No, sir.
No? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Good night, all.